Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the greatness of Hot Springs Village, Arkansas, and the surrounding areas. People, places, experiences. Hot Springs Village is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host, Dennis Simpson, as we engage in weekly conversations to explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com. RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village, the award-winning RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village, is the largest real estate office inside the village with over 30 full-time agents and support staff. Visit them to learn more about this beautiful place to solve your real estate needs. Call them today at 1-800-364-9007 or find them online at explorehsv.com. They are RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village at 1-800-364-9007 or online at explorehsv.com.
Joining us today is Miss Kristi Bennett, the brand new, she still has the shine on her, police chief from Hot Springs Village. And Kristi, what was the one crazy thing somebody said to you? I'm sure there's only just been one.
So in law enforcement, there's going to be many. I have to be careful when I'm asked this question because we live a different world than normal people do, I call. So my craziest thing may be too over the top for a lot of people. So I'm going to kind of a middle of the road. And it's probably been heard a lot of time, but the best thing that I hear is those aren't my pants.
Those aren't my pants. I'm sorry. You may not have seen some of our other episodes, but when we interview Jeff Adkins, one of my buddies here, and he's a programmer just around the street. Well, he's a programmer, right? Huh? He sits in a dark hole all day, right? And, we'll say, okay, we need to interview. And he'll go, hang on, I got to get some pants. And I'm like, we're only shooting you from the chest up. What? Those aren't my pants.
So let me go a little further for that to understand. Anytime you, I would say in my career, probably 12 times that I've arrested somebody who had drugs on them. That was their excuse. These aren't my pants, which just for future reference, that does not get you out of the drug charge if drugs are found in your pants that you claim aren't yours.
Whoa. If somebody else put these pants on me though, Kristi, that could be right.
Well, we all have the moral authority and responsibility to ensure whatever pair of pants we wear do not have narcotic or illegal substances in it. And it goes the same for your vehicle.
So you're telling me if I go to my bedroom and I put on a pair of pants, number one, make sure they're my pants, right? And number two, make sure there aren't any narcotics or illegal paraphernalia in them, right?
I mean, it's always a good thing to ensure that every time.
This is going to be a completely delightful hour, I promise you. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out. I'm Dennis Simpson. Randy Cantrell will be back soon, I promise. And she's Kristi Bennett, the brand new police chief. Kristi, it's not really fair when I say you're the new police chief because you've been around these parts a long time. Give us your story. How did you were born a child in the area, right? What happened?
Okay, so I grew up here in Hot Springs Village. My mom and dad lived right outside the gate, and they were the ones that helped build this village in the late 80s and early 90s. My mom was a wallpaper hanger, and my dad is a rock and stone mason. So growing up, I got to see the village start out to the dirt road that was past DeSoto at Ponce de Leon with they had these big yellow things. That's as far as the village went. And they used to drag me to work with them. And I was either a joint raker. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
Or I was the wallpaper paster. And that's a lot of work too. So I was doing that from the time I can remember. And so I got to go in almost all of the houses that were being built. And I remember as a kid thinking, wow, this is the most beautiful place on earth. And I don't know if I would ever be able to live in a place like this. So growing up, and I went to Jesseville School, and after I graduated Jesseville in 2000, and I literally would help my mom, and not my dad so much at that age, because when you get older, the sun hurts you, and my dad has a very tough job. I don't know how he does it, But I stuck with my mom until I left for college. I went to Henderson. I went to Henderson for 4 years. And after Henderson, I got a job with the Texarkana, Arkansas Police Department. I'm very thankful for my time down there. It was an exceptional and incredible career. But during that time, I would have to come home to see my parents and my grandparents and my brother and my family on the weekends. And as a new officer, you're always on night shift for several years. And that those times are very few and far between. So the first few Thanksgivings and Christmas, everybody here would load up and come down there for me, and which I very much appreciated. But as I grew in my career, I was able to come up a little bit more. And my husband and I, we always knew that this is where we would want to end up. But we just didn't think it was going to be an opportunity or a blessing so soon. So when I got the call that the position was available and posted, I jumped on the opportunity thinking there's probably no way I would be able to have that blessing so early in life, to be able to have the choice to move. And it just so happened, it fell in place. So we're here a lot earlier than I expected, but I'm so thankful and blessed for that opportunity. Can I show you something really fast?
Please, of course. And for our listening audience, you're going to have to go to YouTube and see it. Oh, I love your, oh my God.
That is literally my view. And no offense to Texarkana, spent there a long time, but my view in Texarkana was an abandoned train station, homeless camp, and the rail yard. No offense to rail yards or homeless people, but
no, none taken.
Just you appreciate little things like that, just to be able to look out your window and see such an incredible view. And, here in Hot Springs Village, it's unlike reality compared to what I'm used to. Still settling in. Sights and smells are incredible. And I get to see my mom every day and my grandma and my family. So life is good. It really is.
It's funny, the parallels that you and I have, we're all both from Arkansas, which in the village is kind of rare. I mean, really, but the other thing is that Texarkana is a nice place. It really is. It's a beautiful, lush area, very beautiful, very well grown, nice area. But I make note, we have 4 Airbnbs here on Lake DeSoto, and I make note to people, you could stay anywhere you want, but you wake up in the, you wake up in the morning, yawn and stretch and look out over a parking lot. You're like, I think the Coopers were genius in seeing this vision. And if anybody, they really deserve the credit. Now I got to ask, because these are longtime friends of mine, Sissy Bennett, Bush Bennett, are these names that ring a bell with your parents?
No.
Okay.
So far since I've been here, everybody thinks that I'm related to the stonemason Bennett, the Bennett brothers.
Right.
I'm not. My dad actually started with them back when he was like 19 years old. So, and I know the Bennetts have done a lot of things here in the village as well, and they're an incredible family. It's an honor to, think that I'm related to them. But unfortunately, no. My husband is a Bennett, and his Bennetts are from the Florida area.
Well, let's go to the chase now. What are the challenges? What are the luxuries in the village? Number one, the view is hard to beat. Anywhere you look, the view is hard to beat. But number two, as Ricky, who we dearly love, as Ricky said, in very simple terms, we have every crime that every major city has. We just don't have as much of it. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Very fair. Very fair. And I would think that a lot of it is just perception. I think, and I can tell you that my perception before I was here on the weekends. We've had a lake home here for about almost 2 years in March. And my perception versus reality has changed, because even when I was here for the weekends, I thought, oh, there's no crime that occurs. This is it. This is the safest place on the planet. Although I do agree that this place is much safer than most, there is a amount of crime here. It's just inevitable. And I've seen through working here at the police department that it's the same crime as everywhere else, except that we don't have the amount and we don't have the level of violence. And I'm very thankful for that.
Well, Ricky made note that this job, because of the I don't, I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth. Basically, what I understood is that because they weren't running from fire to fire to fire to fire to fire, or in Little Rock, shooting to shooting to shooting to shooting, that they had the luxury to give a lot more, frankly, customer service. Is that what you're finding?
Yes, and that is my purview. In Texarkana, we did run from call to call to call. But fortunately, we had a very big belief in community-oriented policing. Although with staffing levels and the amount of calls that we had to go to, that amount of community policing was drastically reduced. Here, we're able to do that. And not only are we able to focus on community-oriented policing, and I'll tell you about a little bit more about that in just a second, but we're able to really be involved in providing that customer service. We're not rushed on calls as such bigger cities. We're not having to prioritize. And when I say that in bigger cities, you have to prioritize. You know, your rapes, robberies, and murders are obviously what everybody's going to first, any type of violent crime. And then your thefts, things like that, that aren't in progress, that can take some time for a response for. Fortunately, we don't have any of that as far as high levels. So we're able to focus more on the community policing side, which is my biggest part of my career. That's what I focused on.
Well, tell me now, the police academy will continue, but maybe with a little Kristi spin. Well, what's going on here?
Yes, so I know traditionally the police academies happen twice in a year. I'm not quite sure if we're going to be able to make this September academy because I do want to bring my spin on it. I started the police academy back in Texarkana in 2015, and it was my most favorite program. And I love the hands-on aspect of it. So I want to make sure that we're very prepared and we're very ready to give our citizens and our residents a very unique experience. And I know that it's going to continue to be as successful as it has. The CPA has almost 400 participants in it, and that is just an absolute floor-dropping, phenomenal amount of support.
Well, tell me this, and let's do the 5 Mile High view, because I know this is going to hit you as a surprise, but not everybody has watched all 132 episodes of Hot Springs Village Inside Out. I mean, I know it's like a moral deficit that nobody's done that, or somebody. Well, okay, probably nobody. But my point being, the ones that don't know what the academy is, tell us for that again.
Sure, and go back to your point. I've been watching Inside Out for a long time. So when I got the email from Dennis, I was so excited because I was like, it's finally my turn. So I felt starstruck when he called. So CPA Citizens Police Academy is an 6 to 8 week experience for individuals to kind of capture the true essence of law enforcement. You know, everybody typically thinks police take people to jail, but there's so much more involved in that. And we're able to give our residents a true experience of the day in the life of a police officer, detective, whatever else is going on, a dispatcher. You know, that is our very unsung heroes because dispatcher is our lifeline. And those ladies in our room back here, they are absolutely incredible. And they do all of it without sight. They don't get to see what we're doing. They don't get to see what's going on. When somebody calls with a tragedy that's occurring in their life, they can't see it. So they have to be their ears and their voice. And they have to make sure that they can do what they can to keep us safe in the meantime. So those ladies, they do an incredible job. You always want to keep your dispatchers happy.
Very much, very much. It's just, it goes through my mind. I've called everything from for a lost dog to a drowning, to be exact. And, you know, let's take a turn there just for a moment. This last week, and I don't know when this will air, probably late August, early September, but unfortunately, we had a young man who was staying at one of our rentals who went out in a pair of rubber boots, shorts, the day after it had snowed, and tipped over a kayak and drowned. And it could not have been more tragic. The fact that I had a relationship like with you and like with Ricky, when I can call and say, Ricky, we have a problem, you know, and I was able to go to lunch with him a few weeks later and we talked about things. And he said the same thing. He said that the family apologized to me profusely, repeatedly, that they were so sorry this inconvenience, you know, their son drowned and they're apologizing to us. But Ricky said something that just spun me around, and I want to come put this contemporaneous with what's going on. There was just an event this last weekend in Mulberry where there was these police beating up on a guy, and it has gone international. And Ricky's exact words were, every police chief, every police administrator in the United States, at least, is one event away from being on national news or international news. You want to talk to that? Is that correct in your mind?
Well, I think we all think differently. And I do know that social media has brought us into a whole nother area when it comes to law enforcement. And unfortunately, sometimes officers are right, but they're not portrayed correctly in the media light. This situation is disgusting. And there are bad cops out there, just like there are bad doctors and teachers. Unfortunately, there's millions of us that are so good. Incidents like this make it harder for us. And, we don't like to see that. It makes us angry, probably more mad and angry when we see things like that, because we're trying so hard to bring us into a new progressive era of helping people. And that just sets us so far back. And it seems like the minute one of these incidents happen, and let me tell you something, as law enforcement, we are the biggest family and we all support each other. It doesn't matter if it's Hot Springs Village, Hot Springs, Garland County, Minnesota. We're all here for each other. And when things like that happen, we all suffer. And it's very unfortunate that it seems like soon as one of these incidents happen, whether it's here in Arkansas or in California or in Minnesota, we all suffer. And then it takes so much time and so much energy to try to bounce back for that, not only for the general public, but for our law enforcement. We've come to a time where hiring and retention is absolutely difficult because of this stuff right here. Nobody wants to be put in a situation to where they're out there trying to serve and protect and do the right thing all the time, and then being part of when somebody messes up.
Well, and let me cut into the chase just for a moment here. I tell you what, I'm gonna follow you all day. I'm gonna follow you for all year, and I'm gonna have a camera on you all year, and I'm gonna take 15 seconds out of your entire year and portray that. Nobody wants to watch. If I'm a licensed security manager for the state of Arkansas, I put in a lot of cameras. We see some of the same stupid things. Okay. That said, I know that where the story starts and the story ends is not where the 15 seconds occur, because I get paid to watch several hours and go, but did you see the other 4 times that this perp came in and did this before that happened? Anyway, the story cannot be contained in 15 seconds, but that's the only 15 seconds that gets shown internationally or wherever.
Yes, but we're also sworn to uphold and preserve life. And we do that as far as we can in the most ethical fashion. And the ethical way is to arrest people as swiftly and with less force as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And speak to the fact and the comment I made with Ricky there that at any moment you could find yourself on national news. Because of this unfortunate drowning, this man was on regional news. How does that? Do you live with it? Do you get up in the morning and go, I hope nothing bad happens. Hope I'm not in front of TV cameras by noon.
I don't live like that. I just try to live every aspect of my life publicly, and I was the PIO for Texarkana for many, many years. So I did a lot of the on-camera stuff and all the news media stuff. So I know how easy it is to be put on camera. That being said, I'm not perfect and I do make mistakes, and I've made a lot of mistakes on camera when it comes to speaking and things like that. But, I've always tried to live by the basis of always do what's right and stand by that decision. And that's what I teach my officers. We always do what's right and we stand by that decision. And I think that because of our recruitment and retention program, our problem, we're in a situation to where we're not able to recruit individuals that live by that philosophy of being a sworn law enforcement officer to live and uphold the truth and the law. So it takes a lot of training and it takes a lot of buy-in from the community to help us produce those officers. And accountability is everything. I'm very, very strict on the fact that even when we're law enforcement officers, 8 to 11 to 12 hours a day. We continue to abide by that law 24/7. I'm not supportive of officers, and I'm very thankful because here we have the best group. It has been incredible, these guys. But I'm very supportive of the fact that, officers don't drink and drive. If they do make those mistakes, they suffer the consequences. I'm not the good old boy system. I believe that a law is a law and we all operate on one side. Yes, law enforcement officers try to take care of each other, but that's where we got to talk about mental health and make sure that that's readily available for our police officers, because a lot of times officers go to alcohol, substance abuse, marital problems because of the situations that they're having to see on a day-to-day basis, and they're not coping with it as far as seeking out the mental health that they need. It's always been such a stigma on it. In Texarkana, I'm so very proud of our mental health support program that we've been building, and it's now creating a lot of ground around the state. And when I came here and I was talking to these guys, I've done a lot of talking with them. One of them did mention, mental health. Even though we don't see as much as other bigger cities, they still see a lot. And it does mess with your mental health if you're not able to talk about it and deal with it properly. And that's what we want to prevent. We want to prevent officers being resentful of their job, of their family, of their lifestyles, of their personal body health, because all of those things can lead into issues that we're seeing nationally on television.
How can I help you if I'm damaged, right? Well, I'll tell you what, and I want to come back. This is a strange story, but you'll know where I'm going. My pest control guy came in the other day. Nice guy, great guy, local guy. And I said, "You look familiar." He said, "Yeah, I was in the Garland County Sheriff's Department for 14 years. And I'm like, "And now you're doing pest control?" He said, "Yeah, you couldn't force me to go back to be a police officer now." And I'm just saying that not to brag or complain on him or whatever, but to set the landscape. You have a landscape where people are like, "I want to do the right thing and I want to help other people and I want to contribute." And it's got to be so draining. Am I wrong?
Oh, you're absolutely right. And, that's why mental health, physical fitness, family time is so very important for me. In this agent or in this profession, it's been neglected for so long. And, when I became chief of Texarkana, not only was I a female, but I was also the youngest chief and one of the state of Arkansas for the 8th largest city. So it was, I didn't know how well it was going to be received that, I expect officers to take care of themselves first and foremost, so they can take care of myself and my public first and foremost. And, it was very well received. I believe that officers need to work on their physical fitness. If we've given the opportunity to do that, whether it's on their lunch break, let's give them that. Let's give them that opportunity, because life is hard. And these guys are working all the time, whether it's here at home. And most men and women that are in this profession, a service profession, a servant's heart profession, they tend to neglect themselves. And by spending 30 minutes, 45 minutes a day on your mental health, whether it's physical fitness or, just looking at this beautiful view that I have, those are the things that keep us on the right path to make sure that we're good officers and we can do our best to be on our tip-top shape to serve and protect you.
Well, let's go back to another point that I think I see a parallel, and I want to ask if you would address Texarkana. Okay. You can't tell me that you didn't have jurisdiction issues, because you got to this line right here and you're in Texas, and you get to this line over here and you're in Arkansas. And for those of you that, we want to do the 5 Mile High view. For people that don't know the area, Texarkana, Texas sits right on the line. And back during the Obamacare days, there were people that would move to Texas to not get health care and other people who would move to Arkansas to get health care. I mean, it was literally a very fluid system. Well, how can you stop at that line? And I want to draw the parallel here. Just like here in the village, you have a jurisdiction, and as soon as you drive out those gates, you're in another jurisdiction, still your jurisdiction because you're county officers. What are the parallels there, and what are the challenges?
So, my whole entire career, I was part of a consolidated police department with a consolidated city. And that's essentially what Texarkana is. You have Texarkana, you have literally a state line you can stand on and be in both states. On the right side is Arkansas, on the left side is Texas. Texarkana, Arkansas Police, Texarkana, Texas Police, Miller County Sheriffs, Bowie County Sheriffs, DPS, Arkansas State Police. So we all were used to that consolidation. I mean, we were able to, through MOUs, if there was something going on in Arkansas and we needed to get to Texas, we went. There was no issues with that. The only issues that you kind of had is whenever you made the arrest, it depended on which jail they went to, which is kind of like here. So I don't know everything about this yet. I've met with both. They're incredible. They're very good guys, and they've been so forthcoming with information. Like I said, my guys here, they got this. I was a little concerned about it. It doesn't seem like it's much different. The differences on challenge wise is radios. I'm sure but we've got some radio challenges here. We live in the most beautiful place on earth, but there's lots of mountains. So radio challenges when it comes to talking to our dispatchers and having dead spots, which is a huge officer safety. I'm not quite sure how we're going to handle that yet or fix it, but you've got two different systems in both Garland County and Saline. So, but everybody's really working together around here that I see as far as it comes to law enforcement, and everybody's out for the same goal, to serve and protect. Yes, we're a Hot Springs Village Police Department, but we're in Garland County right now. And then on the other side is Saline County, and both sheriffs agree, we all work together. So that's what's best. And that's how we handle it.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Tell me this, you talk about the goals. Tell me the goals. What are your plans? What do you want to do?
So again, I come in here to a phenomenal police agency, and I'm telling you, these guys, I don't know if you've met all 21 of them, but they are so smart, talented. Some of the things that we're looking at, and here's the job. My job as a chief is not to change things. It's obviously been working great before I got here. I'm not looking to change that. I want it to continue to be great. My job is to try to clear those paths and those challenges that we have as far as technology, training, officer safety issues, and move them out of the way so our officers can be their very best. And training is a very big deal for me, officer safety. And we do have some technology issues. I know Dennis and you and I have talked a little bit about it, and it's being addressed. We have an amazing IT department over at the POA, and they've been stepping up and helping me with assessments on our technology. And when I say technology, I say our radios, our reporting system, our dispatch system, all of those things, they are at the end of their life. So it is to a point that we need to address and plan for the future. And that's what we're looking at doing. But as far as the agency, we came in and did a little bit of a facelift. I had a lot of family, so we brought them all in on the weekend and did some painting. And Mike over at the POA and his crew helped us out with some painting as well. And they're all just incredible. So we had a late night team leadership paint party night, and all the guys that were available came in, and we did a lot of painting. I know that some of these guys are better cops than painters, and that's okay. But, we're just learning each other, working together. I'm spending a lot of time out in the community. I just drive around and see if I can talk to people as much as possible. What I do notice is it rains a lot here. I'm not quite used to that.
We had a guy that moved from Southern California, Brad Beaumont, who was a security guard there. Actually, he was a security guard for a vineyard. They had to actually protect the great vineyards and a lot of other things. A very interesting guy. Had some incredible stories. And he was asking me a lot of questions about Arkansas before he got here. And he said, it says it rains between 70 and 75 inches a year. He said, does the sun ever shine? I'm like, all the time, man. So in last fall, we go to Long Beach, and I'd never been to California before, and we're in Long Beach, and they said, no, it's going to rain tomorrow. So everybody may kind of stay in. It got cloudy, it drizzled, and that was rain. I'm like, no, 3 inches is when it rains. Drizzle.
Right. So I was 2 hours away for 18 years, and I had to live vicariously through my parents whenever it didn't rain for months. And they're like, oh, it's raining. I never realized it rains every day. So my plants are doing incredible. I love flowers. They're doing incredible. Hair, not so much, so it's okay. Yeah. I mean, you just got to adapt and overcome.
My mom says, monitor and adjust, and adjust. Well, Kristi, I'll tell you what, here's what we're going to need to do. We're going to need to come back around. This is just kind of initial, hi, how you doing? Could you come see us every couple of months?
I would love to.
We would love to have you. We really would. I tell you what, for Hot Springs Village Inside Out, I'm Dennis Simpson. He's going to be Randy Cantrell. She's Kristi Bennett. Thanks for joining us again, dear.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a podcast where Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is the star. Please subscribe to the podcast. You can do that by visiting our website, hsvinsideout.com, and tell a friend.